It's been a long week, right? Are you ready to wind down? Why not? It's time for the Wine Time Fridays podcast with Shelley and Phil. Neither are sommeliers, but both have a deep passion for life, each other, and of course, delicious wine. And now, here to talk about this week over a glass of wine is Shelley and Phil. It's wine time!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Wine Time Fridays with Shelley and Phil on this Friday, July 26th. Oh my goodness. Episode 223. Shelley, happy Friday. It's wine time.
Happy Friday.
Okay, so we're going to get right into this. Oh, which one should we open first?
Both 22s.
Yeah, I mean...
Let's go by alphabetical order, so that would be Elsom.
Elsom, only barely.
They're both E's.
Elsom,
Cellars, and Eternal Wine.
Yes, both of these wineries have been sponsored with Lars for so long. We love them both. In fact, we are working with Brad Binko of Eternal. To sit down with him again, it's just getting out there to Walla Walla, and we'll talk more about.
It's such a long ways away.
Well, I mean, it does require a little bit. Ooh, look at these glasses, Shelley. So
they're special.
Yeah, they are special. So if you can see that one, maybe not. Let's put that. Probably can't see it. It's etched. Shelley, do you want to say what your glass says?
Rotarian of the Year, and it says my name, and he has one that says a similar thing.
Except different name.
Different name.
We have been named Rotarians of the Year for our club, Rotary on the Rocks, for the year 23-24. Very, very special honor, and kind of caught us both off guard. So we get to toast in these glasses for the first time. This is a 2022 Elsom Cellars Albariño from Yakima Valley.
The wine is from Yakima Valley.
Yes.
Elsom Cellars is an urban winery in Seattle.
That's correct. This is $28. When we got it quite a while ago, this is actually probably ready to drink. So
it's 2022.
So mineral on the nose. To health, wealth, and abundance, gratitude, romance, and
peace on earth.
They're going to sound a little different.
Oh,
no, not so bad.
Not bad at all. Slightly effervescent. Look, you can see the little bubbles on the edge.
Oh man, I really like Albariño. There's some tartness to this.
Acidic.
Yeah, we're gonna revisit the word acidity for our wine word of the week. However, we're not going to talk about it quite yet. Quite yet, right? But so this is. Do you have some notes on this? A little harder to find notes because they're 2022s and they're probably selling their 23s right now.
They are selling their 23s. And the notes on this is just from the 2023. It's bold, crisp, bright lemon notes. Would go well with creamy brie, prosciutto wrapped melon. Yes. And this is what percent alcohol?
That's a good question. It is 13% alcohol by volume.
Ah.
Yep. And so what they do is they actually take the grapes from Yakima Valley, and in the middle of the night when it's cooler, they bring them over into the soda district in Seattle. They do everything there. They crush the grapes. They start the winemaking process. And so we are also trying to find Jody to get her on as well, because both Brad and Jody were our first winery sponsors. And it's been a little while. It's been a hot minute since they've been on
It has
And
been.
we really need to get them on because they have been really special friends of this podcast, as well as just good people at creating really good wine. So one of the things I want to discuss as we're tasting through this,
Which I get some green apple on this one.
really,
Mhm.
it says lemon on the back and it says green apple. And man, good call on the green apple. It is right there, those Granny Smiths. It's funny, I'm not a big fan
Of
Granny
apple
Smith
itself.
and licorice and, coffee. And yet those profiles in wine,
You like those?
I do like those. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Just a completely, when you're biting into a Granny Smith, man, it just really secretes.
It's almost like a crab apple, this one too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So there are differences in, first of all, Albariño, really the basis of where it came from is in Spain, the Rios Baixas region of Spain. And this is not them. Well, we decided to do head-to-head Washington Albariños. But Albariño is actually grown all over the place. In the U.S., it's California, Oregon, Washington. Portugal has Albariño in the Vinho Verde region. And it's, of course, known there as Albariño. Italy, some Italian wine producers, particularly in the north, are experimenting with it. Australia has got some Albariño grapes planted. New South Wales and Western Australia, and then New Zealand, which seems like it'd be a slam dunk. They're growing Albariño, particularly in the Marlborough region. So that's kind of a little bit about the grape, all over the place grown. I feel like, do we want to talk a little bit more about this before we move on?
Let's move on. Then we'll talk a little bit about what Albariño might pair with.
Beautiful. I feel like we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it'll take a little time because I have a swallow of this. We're going to actually open the next bottle with a gadget. We're going to talk a little bit about gadgets. Only a couple. No big deal. When we come back.
Welcome back to Wine Time Fridays, episode 223. You get so excited.
I do get so excited.
Anything.
It makes me really happy. We just had the 2022 Yakima Valley Albariño from Elsom Cellars. Now we're going to move to a 2022 Albariño
Eternal Wine Lust Albariño.
Yes. Just want to verify, because we had this conversation before, right there, Yakima Valley AVA.
Got it.
Ooh, handpicked on the 27th of October, 2022.
Ah, nice.
So in my hands, I have something called the Cork Pops. It looks like this. It has a little CO2 cartridge on the top, for those of you watching on YouTube. And what you do is you stick that really dangerous looking needle.
It does look dangerous.
There you go.
It's not even like quartz. It's not spiraled. It's just straight.
Nope. So and it's got actually a foil cutter on it, but this didn't have foil, so we didn't need to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate for those on YouTube, and for those not seeing it on YouTube, you'll just have to listen because it can be a little scary.
It is.
So I'm going to stick this needle right through the cork, and it does go in pretty easily. And then, so this is really designed for people that may not have the hand strength
Like me.
Well, you can open a bottle of wine, but there are some people who can't, and yet they still want a bottle of wine.
Mhm.
Not a big fan of gadgets just to have gadgets,
Mhm.
but we were asked by our friends
It's
at
CDA,
CDA Gourmet to give this
test
a
it out.
shot. So we're going to do that. So here we go.
So you just press on the top?
Yep, and it goes
Okay.
just like that.
Whoa. That is very fast.
Very fast. And then there's the cork.
Hmm.
Ooh, sounds like a Molly Duker wine with what's going on in this.
It's also a little bit fizzy,
Yes, it is a little fizzy.
effervescent.
Well, we've already kind of said what it is, but I'll show it anyway. A 2022 Eternal Wine Lust Albariño from Yakima Valley.
Do we know why it's called Lust?
No.
When the wine is it filtered? Maybe it looks filtered.
You know, Brad names a lot of his wines like Patience and I have to go and look at a bunch of them, but they all have names. Privilege is one. This one happens to be Lust. There's Passion. And so
all right.
that's just kind of fun to do. And so hashtag cheersing.
Interesting.
Nice glass. Oh, look at the little green on this.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Still little tiny bubbles. This one's different from Eternal.
It
I mean,
is.
from
Elsom.
Mm-hmm. It's nice also.
You know, and that's...
I would say this has a little less acid.
Yes, I agree. It's more softer acid. It's a little bit more mellow, softer around the edges. Doesn't mean the other one that we're saying like is sharp necessarily, that it's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's crisp, a little bit more crisp. This is less crisp, but a little bit more just softer.
Remember, Brad concentrates on, excuse me, terroir driven.
That's right.
Single vineyard Rome varietals. So
now
we're getting the terroir in this one.
Yeah, very much so. Since we brought up CDA Gourmet with the cork pops, I'm going to say the CDA Gourmet wine word of the week is acidic. So when describing wine, acidic refers to the sharp, lively sensation that is felt on the palate, particularly, God, that's words just coming up a lot today, on the tongue and the sides of the mouth.
And the sides of the tongue also.
Yeah, and so this one a little less acidic.
Mm-hmm.
The first
They're
one,
both very delightful.
yeah, very delightful.
And what would you pair these with?
Well, I've got some things written down. Did you take some off of the websites?
The only one I took off is brie and the prosciutto wrapped melon, but I would definitely say seafood, shellfish.
Yeah. So these Washington Albariños pair really well with seafood, particularly shellfish. Like you said, I think we might be having some oysters grilled with a little butter and some lemon squeezed in there and some Tabasco.
Yummo.
And
ceviche.
Ceviche.
That makes sense too.
Grilled fish, of course, some white fish. I don't know about salmon on this. Seems like it'd be a little rich for that.
The salmon rich, yes.
Yeah. Asian cuisine.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, these would go fantastically.
The charcuterie.
Charcuteries, yeah. So
in the lighter cheeses like the brie and white cheddar, things like that. Maybe not even the white cheddar. That might be too sharp.
So some of the notes I have for the Washington Albariño and the acidity aspect to the profile, a little bit softer acidity. What's really interesting, and Shelley pointed this out immediately, these two wines, same vintage, same AVA, but they're very different. They are really very different. And so that's what's a lot of fun about this. Oh, I will say this on the back, Brad puts lust, strong or uncontrolled passion and desire. Her lust for him was palpable.
Nice.
I was thinking that was Shelley saying that, and then she'd laugh, so then maybe not. Speaking of Shelley, she's going to be in a parade tomorrow.
Yes.
Up in Hayden.
At the Hayden Parade. Yep. Hayden Days Parade with the Blazing Divas.
Yep. And the temps will be
Hot.
very manageable.
Well, it's still hot.
Not
as 106 hot.
Yeah. Last weekend we were in the triple digits for 2 or 3 days. And then things cooled off during the week down to the upper 80s, lower 90s, which I love.
Feels like we're having a prolonged hotter summer.
I don't know.
We usually get a few days of really hot, but we're having several.
We're right.
Which is fine.
Oh, I love it. Mm-hmm. Actually, today, July 26th, our yard is 90% put together.
Finally.
We're about a week.
We had so many weeds this year. I don't know where the hell it came from, but there's so many weeds. And then, of course, we had the large tree chopped down, messing up everything.
Yeah, well, those are very heavy
circles of wood.
Circles of wood, yeah. They're 16 inches thick and about 18-inch diameter. Yeah, it takes a little time to chip those or cut those or split those. But they're nice and dry now, so it'll be perfect for winter this year when that happens.
Don't say that bad word.
I'm so sorry. The W word.
Winter, yeah.
One more gadget I wanted to show, if you're on YouTube.
Oh.
Our friends, Heidi and Chris Cochran, they've been guests on this podcast before. They're going to be guests again. I'm not showing you the wine, but I'm going to show you what they sent this in. I could throw this right at the computer.
Like a football.
Yeah, like a football. It's not going to break.
Well, maybe.
That was the 1-pack. This is a 2-pack. So you blow these sides up.
With a little straw.
Yeah.
Because we have some of these. You can get them on Amazon. And if you are traveling with wine, they're pretty inexpensive. Or we love Fly with wine. But if you happen to get more than will fit in the Fly with Wine suitcase, you may want to bring those.
Those?
Those, yes. Yeah, you can get, I want to say you can get like 20 for $10 or something like that on Amazon.
Yeah.
Are you going to link that in the show notes?
I will. Okay. In fact, that's a good segue. We have a couple of other things that we're going to be putting on our Things We Use page. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of a process. I have to find the product. I send Shelley the link. Shelley then puts that link into her affiliate link with Amazon, and then she sends that back to me, and then I put that in as a hyperlink on our page because we might get 13 cents if you buy it. Mm-hmm. Which, hey, every 13 cents helps. One more thing
about... You can buy like 1/100th of a bottle of wine.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe even less, a couple drops.
One other thing about Eternal, they have been at the incubator program at the Walla Walla Airport for
several years.
6 years now.
Oh, they got an extra year because of COVID.
Because of COVID, everybody got an extra year. But they are on their way out. I believe they found a place. We're not going to unveil too much, partially because we don't know. But we also want to leave that up to Brad to unveil that, which will be kind of fun. In fact, there's going to be a lot of unveiling on this podcast because we're going to have Rich and Jen Perry from 3D Kitchens by Design. We're going to cook up some food at their place, and they've got some wines picked out, and we've not. They've been very good.
And they love Eternal wines.
They absolutely love Eternal wine. And so we're going to be having some Washington wines because starting next week.
Guess what?
The second Washington Wine Month.
I need to do some research on why there are two.
I'm so far behind lining things up. I will say one last thing about this Albariño. We're having this because Thursday is Albariño Day.
Oh, that's true.
And then we also have the first week of August is Albariño week. So Albariños are very easy drinking. Again, a big thanks to Dan Petrosky last week. We didn't really do that at the front end like we should have. Those Masakan wines, fantastic summer wines. Actually, they're good year round. I mean, Shelley, you are a little bit less of, not so much this year though. When it's hot outside, I don't really want red wine. This year it hasn't been that case. It's like we
come inside and have air conditioning. So
yeah,
we're not going to drink red wine on the patio.
No,
at
probably
100
not.
degrees.
Probably not. But these wines are right in line with the Masakan in terms of what it will go with, like shellfish and things like that. So we're going to take one more break. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up. We'll just do it that way. Welcome back to Wine Time Fridays, episode 223. Shelley and Phil, July 26. Moving right along.
You're sounding like a Canadian.
Ending every comment or sentence with a question mark. We have some things coming up. You want to talk a little bit about some of the things in the future?
Yes, we have National White Wine Day on August 4th. And that time will also be still in the middle of Albariño Week. International Prosecco Day. We hear some kind of Prosecco Day several times a year.
We do.
I feel like that's on the 13th of August. International Pinot Noir Day on the 18th of August.
That seems like an odd time to have
my
a Pinot.
sister's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Jill.
International Cabernet Sauvignon Day on the 29th of August, and National Chianti Day on September 6th. Don't get us into September yet. We're not ready.
Okay, so she recants that last bit.
There's no days in September yet.
Some of the wines that we had this week, the Fattoria Le Pupille, Poggio Valente. That was a Italian wine. Rocky Pond,
Yes,
you think? Rocky Pond, Stratostone Red, Bravium, Chardonnay.
Contos.
We had Contos, Cellars, Cabernet Sauvignon, 2018. I forgot. I mean, I really didn't, but it's just so good.
It is. Contos is great. They're also in Walla Walla, and their label has a dragonfly on it.
Yep.
We have some coasters. Those coasters.
They used to be in the incubator thing in Walla Walla.
They were there. They graduated.
Yep. They are now in downtown Walla Walla, one of the downtown Walla Walla. A little tasting room down there. Very, very, just good wines. What else do we have?
Talbert Kelly Hart Chardonnay, Frank Family Chardonnay, Gifford Hurlinger State Line Red, and a Martin Roy Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir.
I think that's Martin Ray.
Okay. I don't have my glasses on.
Which also we had with some salmon from Costco. Sorry. It's just so good. And it's hard to deviate away from Pinot Noirs with salmon. What else? I just wanted to thank our sponsors today, Rocky Pond, which we actually had that Stratostone Red. It's fantastic. Thank you.
It's a beautiful venue, too. If anyone's getting married and wants to get married in Washington, that's a great venue.
Well, that's the new venue on the river, which it is a fantastic venue, but they've got tasting rooms in Leavenworth, Chelan, and Woodinville.
That's true, yeah.
So, yes.
I don't know if the Divas are going to Leavenworth this year. If they do, we'll be visiting.
Yes, we might be visiting anyway. Thank you to Rocky Pond. Seasons of Coeur d'Alene, by the way, their Thursday night brews and beers. Beers and what is it? Burgers and brews. I had a burger. You'd think I'd know.
Burgers and brews.
Oh, so
you
good.
don't have to have a brew. You can have a house wine or a house well drink.
Yeah, $15.
Very inexpensive.
Yep.
Really a good deal.
And
also they have a salmon burger too.
Which is what you had.
Not this past night.
Oh, okay.
Well, they have a portobello burger also.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
He doesn't like mushrooms. But if you like mushrooms, you'll like that portobello burger.
Don't talk to me after you've eaten that. Breath will stink. That's really rude of me.
That is rude. Take that out.
And Coeur d'Alene Fresh. Thank you to Marla. Open Fridays and Saturdays during the summer with music and fun stuff. So I think we've got everything covered. We are only 25 minutes in.
Good job.
With a little bit of knowledge, we brought some knowledge about Albariños, Washington Albariños, a little bit of knowledge. Wine becomes a lot less overwhelming. Thank you for being here. Next week, that's what we didn't talk about. It's that first week of the second month of Washington Wine Month. It's there in my notes somewhere. Have an awesome weekend. Stay cool. Drink good wine. Try some Albariños. Try some off the beaten path wines. You'll be happy you did. And we'll see you next week. Thank you for spending part of your day to wind down with Shelley and Phil. Remember, you can listen to any episode of the Wine Time Fridays podcast by visiting winetimefridays.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And join us on our Wine Time Fridays Facebook page, Instagram, or on Twitter, which is @VintageTweets, for daily conversation. Until next week, here's our toast to you. To health, wealth, abundance, gratitude, peace on earth, and of course, romance.